just going to take a quick overview of some of the new features of the Onboard Education site, the upgrade 2.0. And the perspective that we're going to go through is from that of a principal logging into the system and looking at charts and dashboards and reports. And this would be very similar also for a counselor of a school, maybe that could be added to a school site. And the screens and charts would also be very similar for a district administrator that may be looking at aggregate results at a much higher level with multiple schools data in it. But for this perspective, we're just going to be logging in as a principal user. And so this is your basic login sign-in screen, and it's the principal's email, for example, which can be reset at any time. Once logging in, he or she can add as many staff or additional users to the system to see information, and they can be added according to various roles. But also you can do a bulk add, and you can upload many staff all at once with a CSV list right here. This next dashboard screen is as a principal is logged in, they are going to see the active surveys that they can access quickly. The green one would be the one that is still active and in progress, and these two, for example, would be previous ones, maybe from other years, that they could look at. And also they could compare surveys information over here in this area, so they could choose any of two surveys to compare data with. So if we were just to click on the current active survey here showing 67% complete, we would see a screen here like this that just gives a quick overview of the overall progress of all the students in their school, giving the total participants, the number that are completed, in progress, and that haven't started yet. And it'll also break it down by grade and show what the progress is by grade. And so again, they could click on any one of these numbers. Let's say they wanted to look at the grade 10 students and see the list of students that had not yet started. They could click on this number here and get that list quickly and find the information and send it to somebody, maybe for follow-up as far as coordination and administration goes of the survey. All of our screens are very print friendly, and they're just designed to always be formatted friendly for printers. And so that's a nice feature that we've always wanted. So the next screen is just going to show the standard login page for a student logging into the system to take the survey. And we have a two-way authentication system. So the first step is to enter their student ID number, and the second step is to enter their date of birth. And this just helps us to make sure that we've got the right student in the right place, and that their data is going to be secure and tagged correctly to who this person is. It also means that any students that have not been preloaded into the system will not have access to the survey. But it's very easy and simple to add new students, either individually or as a bulk import list. They can also choose a language selection tool here. Currently we just have English and French, but we can easily add new ones as needed. And then they'll click start their survey. We then have a confirmation page that just tells them, this is the school that we have you in, is this correct? The intent of this page is to confirm that they are in the correct school that we have them registered in. And if that information is changed recently, like maybe they've been transferred to a new school within the district, their information will still be allowed to be entered, But this just triggers a notice that needs to go to the principal saying, this student A, um, either is no longer in your school or is saying that they are in this school. And so we just have this so that when a principal is looking at their group of students, they know that they are looking at the group that is only in their school. They will then press confirm and proceed to the survey. And so this is a typical screen of what the survey looks like. They will just scroll down and answer questions. And we've also formatted it for a phone device. And so this just shows how it stacks and is easy to read on a phone. And we also have the format and layout for a tablet as well. After they complete the survey, their data is loaded into the system, and a principal can go in at any time and check out the results and the charts of aggregated data that they have. And so this is a quick dashboard screen of 44 students that have completed the survey. Up here is our header of information that they can filter by quickly. They can filter by grade or gender, and an adult support question, which is very important in following up and supporting kids that need it especially. And we'll look at that question a little later. But this is the 10-factor resiliency summary chart overview, and we've got external factors here and internal factors that make up the complete list of resiliency factors. And we've also grouped the kids according to 4 categories of how they've responded into the survey, and how they've landed in the distribution zones in each factor. And so all of our charts are clickable, where they can click into any one of these students and find out who they are. Down below you'll see a more detailed list of what the sub-factors are that make up each resiliency factor. And so, for example, we have 31 really developmental strengths altogether that constitute and make up the 10 factors that you see here. And so for family support and expectation, if they wanted to see the 29 kids that fell into this category, they would just click on that number and the list of students would pop up, and you can easily again sort by any one of these columns. You can look for a particular student in the search field, or maybe a class, and it would just isolate that class of students. And but this is just showing the group of kids that are in that zone between 50 and 75% in family support and expectations. As another example, you could be looking more specifically to look at the kids that fell into the family school involvement developmental strength, that scored maybe vulnerable in that area. Clicking down further, you would see the list of students that fell into that category. And again, you can sort by any one of these fields. And you can also click on any student and see their individual profile. So if we were to look at this student here, this is an example of a individual summary report, giving their key information up here, how they scored in the 10 resiliency factors, and how they scored in each of the 31 developmental strengths. That question that I was referring to earlier, all additional questions will be listed here. If there are custom questions or specific support questions or engagement with teachers that was created for your district, for example, or your school, it can also be listed here, and we'll just show their responses to each of the questions. And so this is the question that we found is very significant for following up with support. Is there at least one caring adult at your school who you can go to for support and encouragement? And filtering aggregate results here by this question, and saying those that answered no to that allows you to dedicate some much needed resources to the kids that really need support in that area and for follow-up. All of these tips and resources of how to use this data and what to do next will be outlined clearly in the school resiliency report that will be provided as well. And there'll be a link right here that they will be able to click on. Principals can click on. That will be a guide that will walk them through step by step how to use this data. The last screen is a shot of the strength summary report page, and this is kind of the degree of resiliency summary. We've grouped each of the 44 students, for example, that fell into each of the 4 zones. So those that fell into the impoverished zone of 0 to 10, the vulnerable zone of 11 to 20, and here we've got 16 kids that are in the 21 to 25 and 26 kids in the optimal zone. So again, you can filter up here by any of the information that you want to see and how that affects the charts, how that affects the results that you're looking at. And again, you could click on any one of these tabs and sort by and isolate just that group of students. You could sort by classes and number of strengths, and any information that you have in their data file can be found and searched for here. We will also have an area for any custom school questions that were added to your school or district that will just be itemized by question. And here as an example, we've got a district with a list of questions around engagement that students felt towards teachers, and so for example, it will just list the questions here, and how the number and the percentage of responses, whether it was yes or no to each question, will just be listed below. Another example is listing which of the following people do they feel care about you at the school, and the response number according to each available response in the survey. So all of those questions will also be listed in a custom question group area that will also be available.